Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel JPM.Cuisine. Today I have the ultimate unboxing for all of you. You guys are getting a first-hand glimpse at the VG10 Japanese updated version of the Kuma chef's knife. This hasn't even been released yet. It's I think it's advertised at $99.99 when it's released. Right now you can do the early launch where you get a 33% discount if you go sign up on their website. But they sent me one to unbox for all of you. So without further ado, let's get into this. So as you can see, the box, kind of plain, very well protected. Amazon always ruins my corner, so never fails. But this is a really nice box. It's not like one of the decorative ones, so if it stays in line with what Kuma normally does, we see that they put most of the money and the effort into the design of the knife and the materials that go into the knife in order to minimize the cost to the consumer, which I absolutely love. And I have not seen it, so I don't know if this is a box in a box or, well, it's a box in a box. Oh my God. Guys, let's see. I don't know if I can get it out. Struggling to pull it out of the box, but I love it because it means it's protected. And finally, oh my God, did Kuma solve the issue with my bent corners on my boxes? I think they have. Kuma, please tell me. Oh, baby, look at that. Look at that. Gold Kuma logo on the box itself, held by magnets. We've got the welcome. Very cool, very awesome box. And let's see what's in it. First time opening it up on camera. Oh, what is this? 67 layers, look at that. Let me go ahead and turn around for you guys. See if we can get it on this video. We've got a protector in there as well, love it. So as opposed to the full sheath, this is the knife protector. We'll look at all of this. Man, this is what you guys are getting in this box. This is amazing. Okay, so we'll go through it all. We'll talk about the tip. Looking at the midsection, we're gonna see the profile of this knife once I open it up. 67 layers. Japanese VG10 Damascus steel. You can tell the characteristics of Damascus by sort of the wavy lines that sort of petal or gradient in it. Minimal bolster in order to not be in the way of some of those who have issues with bolsters in terms of sharpening and potentially chopping. I love the bolster, provides a lot of comfort with long-term chopping whenever you're cooking, like especially with Thanksgiving coming up. I'm going to be reaching for those, but I'm going to give these a try to see if maybe the design and the ergonomics of these knives will alleviate the need for a bolster or a full bolster that I'm normally accustomed to. All right, so let's pull it out. We've got a nice protector, kind of a sheath. Feels like a kind of leather type material with a felt inside. We've got the Kuma logo again with the VG10 Damascus steel. Let's see if we get down in there for you. Amazing. Comes protected in a plastic sleeve as well. We've got our warranty card. These are also in the German steel Kuma knives that they release as well. We've got a cover. We've got a tip protector, and we've got it in a nice cutout. And let's get into this. Oh wow. All right. Man, etching on that looks amazing. We'll take a closer look at that sheath, or at the protector as well. So, nice tight fit as it goes in, right? Look at that. That is probably one of the most economical and one of the coolest methods ever in order to protect your knife. And it doesn't add any additional sort of weight or size to the knife when you want to travel with it. So that looks phenomenal. You've got enough distance and room in there for the tip to be protected as well. Very minimal, very awesome, very tight. Pull it out. All right, we'll move that to the side. And let's take a look at the knife. Oh my God, you can immediately tell it's a micarta handle. It's a 2-piece micarta with the 3 rivets with the Kuma rivet in the center. The micarta has that wood grain sort of finish, but it's also got that fiberglass look, which is phenomenal. The color is sort of a black gray, so it looks a little bit more blue. We've got the bolster stainless, and we've got the same profile and contour on the handle as the other Kuma. So they stayed in line with that, which very reminiscent of our German style chef's knives, which I like as well. The handle tapers out towards the center or towards the heel of the knife, so it's fatter near the actual heel and the butt of the blade or butt of the handle, and tapers down towards the neck, so you get a good choke up on it. Pinch grip feels good. Choil has a nice deep cutout for you, so you can really get your finger in there. Sometimes they're exaggerated where they cut in very sharply, creating a less room for your finger to go in, especially if you do a wraparound or a pinch grip like I do. So this gives me a little bit more lockup on here. It's a clean and polished choil as well, so it's not rough. Same thing on the spine of the knife. We've got a polish on the spine, and then we've got that curvature that goes down, reminiscent of the majority of the Japanese knives, the VG10 Japanese knives. The Kuma logo etched on, and we've got that Damascus finish on it as well. And we can see where the edge of it is. Distinctive thud, full tang handle, polished all the way down, especially to those rivets. Let's see how it sits. So from tip, we've got, man, they've got a really good tip on there, a really good belly with a rock, and then we've got that flatness from the heel on, so we can get a good cut all the way down to the heel, pushing out, slicing very well. The action of this knife is phenomenal. Wow. Kuma's really outdid themselves with this knife. I mean, their previous knife was probably the best $20 knife on the market for anybody entry level, just looking to get into cooking and not sure where you want to invest in. The Kuma original chef's knife is a phenomenal purchase at the $20 range. For anyone who's an enthusiast or just getting into it and not sure where they want to spend. I mean, it's not worth going in and buying $200, $300 knives if you're just beginning. You need a sharp knife, a knife that's going to maintain its edge. And the challenge with most German steel is that they usually lose their edge very quickly. With the Kuma, I experienced at least 4 months of straight usage with that knife where I didn't have to sharpen it or hone it very often. As opposed to some of the other knives that I've used, German steel, that have to be honed and sharpened, you know, almost monthly to that regard. So very good work with the Kuma knives. The profile again is kind of short from the spine to the heel, but the material that you get within it has always been good, so I'm really excited to use it. Doesn't have sort of a mirror polish or a mirror finish on it, but I like the finish on it, and it's very pronounced. The Damascus wavy lines are very pronounced within it, so that's really, really cool. All right, I know what you guys want to see. Let's get into the weight of this one. And I'm not sure I can't remember the weight of the previous one. I'll go back in and I'll put that in the description so you guys can see, but you can also go and watch my previous unboxing of the Kuma so you can see the weight. We're looking at 220 grams. So very close to the Enzo that I just reviewed and did the comparison with at I think 218 grams. And then the Tokage was I think 229. So we're right in between that, which gives you a light enough feel so that you can be precise and accurate with your cuts. And man, even though it's an 8-inch, it feels like it's longer because it's kind of got that bullet shape on it. I'm loving that. All right, let's get into some magazine cutting so you guys can see how this performs on paper. The knife I received had some issues with the sharpness of the edge. There were some inconsistencies from the tip to the hill. All of that will be apparent throughout the cut test. So we'll get that edge in there. So going in from heel to tip, we get some pretty good cuts, push cut. We get push cuts on that. And here's the Ultimate Sharpness Test 2.0. What my buddy, the Kitchen Source, and I have been working on. It's where you take a magazine. So just to explain that a bit, normally when you cut magazine paper, when you're cutting on the edge, you cut the long or the length of the grain, and then you cut across the grain near the top. And you can see how sharp a knife is based on how it cuts across the grain. The problem with that is usually I mess it up, so it tends to make the knife look like it's dull. Cutting with the grain, of course, I mean, you can sort of fudge that all day long. Well, Bob Kramer, who I've seen most recently, will do a bend in the knife or in the paper. Kitchen Source as well has tried this as well, but what I've found is when you do that, you create two creases where the knife will actually flatten the paper out here, creating a crease here and here, and then most of the time you'll see a cut here and here, which sort of negates the purpose of it being rounded, because it's going to create the natural flatness from the weight of the knife or the pressure of the knife. When you use something to brace it, like a paper towel roll or a, in this case, this is wrapping paper roll, you don't create those creases in it so much, but you can go in very deep and start cutting the cardboard and make it look like it's sharper than it is. But usually that will show up on paper or show up on the video, because you'll start to see brown where it's been cutting into the cardboard as opposed to just the magazine paper. In this case, that was all magazine paper. And you can continue to roll down and just pull through. And I'm telling you, it's just like shaving, you know, it's just like shaving face is how sharp this knife is. You know, that's what I'm trying to showcase here, is the sharpness. I mean, I'm gonna go through and do the tomato, because where it counts in my kitchen is how it cuts against vegetables. But in this case, you know, we can see that throughout those cuts, it's fairly sharp in getting and biting into the paper when it's curved, because if the knife is dull, what will typically happen, and I have to use the back of it, or the heel, is that it will just glide across the paper. So whenever the knife is dull, you can't bite into magazine paper as hard as you try. When the knife is sharp, it just cuts across, it gets that cut in. That's what I'm trying to showcase with the Ultimate Sharpness Test 2.0, coined by myself and the Kitchen Source, all right? Performs. With the tomato test, basically you cut off the end and it'll sit up flat, and you'll drag the knife from heel to tip and see if you can get those very thin slices. Okay, takes a... You can see here that I'm really trying to do everything that I can to make sure that it's not me, the tomato, or the board that's exhibiting the issues with cutting, but it's actually sort of the inconsistencies in the knife and that edge that's causing it to push the tomato more than it does to cut through. Right at the very heel, there's no edge, but as you move forward, it gets a little bit of an edge. It's sharp enough that it can cut through the tomato, and then it just sort of stops. So as you can see, I'm really trying as hard as I can to make this knife cut through the tomato, and right about 4 inches from the heel is where it starts to cut, and it's a short area where it cuts from the heel to just at the curve of the belly. Once you get into there, it'll actually start making the cuts, and then I go into more of a sawing motion to try to finish through the slices here. So in the case of this tomato, I'm even holding it. In the case of this tomato, in the case of this knife, there's really just a small area that's sharp enough to pass the tomato test, and it's right here where I go back and forth and I'm able to finally get through the tomato. But by no means is this what I wanted in terms of an outcome. Let's go ahead and get these out of the way, and we'll finish up the review of the Kuma. So again, guys, this one will be releasing soon. It is the Japanese VG10 version of the Kuma knives. This is the premium knife. Again, comes with a sleeve to protect the edge and the tip. Beautiful box in a box to protect the box as well. Thank you, Kuma, for thinking about that. Extremely excited to see that. And again, let's just go ahead and pull everything out. So you've got the Kuma, the knife, the sleeve. Well, I'll post the links to Kuma's website in the description, as well as the links to this knife. Once it goes on sale, I'll update that. I'd love to hear your thoughts and any comments that you have on my videos or on these knives in general. Let's keep the conversation going, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.